Are you ready to dive into the depths of intrigue and unravel the caffeinated enigmas that surround us?
Look no further than the electrifying world of Caffeinated Conspiracies, the podcast that's about to jolt your curiosity awake.
Join us for a caffeine-fueled adventure where every sip and every secret is a clue waiting to be deciphered.
In each episode, our dynamic hosts delve into the most thought-provoking and jaw-dropping theories that'll leave you wide-eyed and pondering. From mysterious artifacts all the way to the depths of the ocean, cover-ups, conspiracies, the unknown, all with a cup of coffee.
Available on all major podcast platforms. Subscribe now and stay tuned for mind-blowing episodes that will leave you questioning everything. Remember, truth is stranger than fiction. So let's dive into the mysteries together. Join us on Caffeinated Conspiracies, satisfying your curiosity one cup at a time.
Welcome to the Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy podcast. I'm Deklan, the son.
And I'm Jane, the mom. This is the podcast where we talk about brutal crimes, bizarre occurrences, and get you drunk with cocktails themed around one of our stories. To lighten things up, we'd like to end our time with a chaser. Please keep in mind some of our stories might be upsetting to young or sensitive ears.
We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to contact us by email or social media. You can find our contact info in the show notes for this episode. If you'd like to support us through Patreon, you can find us there at Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy Podcast, or use the link in our show notes.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us again for another episode of Brutal, Bizarre, and Boozy. How are you doing today, Deklan?
I'm doing good. We had no technical difficulties today, so that's a bonus.
So far, knock on wood.
Yeah,
crossing my fingers.
Yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah. Hopefully the new computer helps us with our technical drama.
Yes.
We will soon see. What is your story that you have for us today?
I am going to be talking about John Lennon today.
Wow. Okay.
I'm surprised we haven't done that yet. It's been
I know
a long time and we haven't talked about him. So
it has.
What story do you have for us today?
I have a ghost story, but with a different sort of flair to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
My drink to go with the story is called the Danny Ocean. I don't know what that means, but it's the Danny Ocean. Probably from Ocean's 11.
Okay, I was going to say, am I going crazy? I think in Ocean's 11, they had Danny from Hawaii Five-0 as the... Yeah. Danny from Hawaii Five-0. Danny.
Yeah. The guy that played Danny. No, I don't think he was in Ocean's 11.
He was in one of the oceans. Okay,
I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
Just a quick pause. I need to make sure I'm not going crazy.
Well, I'll let you look that up, and I'll tell you about the drink. The drink is 2 ounces of Casamigos Reposado, 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice, 3/4 of an ounce of fresh pink grapefruit juice, 1/2 ounce of agave nectar, and 1/4 ounce of maraschino liqueur. The garnish is a grapefruit wheel. So the steps are to combine ingredients in a shaker with ice and shake well, and then strain into an ice-filled cocktail glass and garnish. And what have you discovered?
Okay, so Scott Caan is the actor who played Danny Williams in Hawaii Five-0.
Yes.
And in Ocean's 11, he played Turk Mallory.
Really? Huh.
Same actor, Scott McCann. So
okay. I don't remember him being in that.
In what, Hawaii Five-0 or?
No, in Ocean's 11. I haven't seen it in a really long time, though.
Oh,
and I have a shitty memory for movies, so.
No. That's one of the best heist movies ever, so I watch it once a year.
I could probably watch it right now and be surprised by some things and go, oh my gosh, I don't remember that. When I've seen it multiple times.
Sorry, what was the name of your drink? I completely spaced out.
The Danny Ocean.
Danny Ocean, okay.
Danny Ocean, yeah. Okay, are we ready to try this drink? I'm scared.
So am I.
Because
These ingredients don't typically go together.
no, they don't. But maybe that'll like make some weird, delicious concoction. But it doesn't. Nope.
It's not bad. If you like tequila, it's not bad. It's not. I mean, I don't know about purist is the right word, but when I drink tequila, I like just lime and salt in a shot. But this is pretty decent. I mean, you have to drink it slow because it tastes a little funky, but
it's not
bad
the
as far as
grossest
tequila
drink we've had,
go.
but it's not the best either.
There's like 3 good tequila drinks: tequila shot, margarita, and Paloma.
I'll just say there's no good tequila drinks.
You don't like?
I know that's not
you
a
don't like
popular
sparkling
opinion.
Stuff,
So. Okay, are we ready for my story? My ocean-related story, which is why I brought the cocktail. The Hudson's Bay Company, often referred to as HBC, was one of the oldest continuously operating companies in North America. Originally founded as a fur trading company in 1670, it eventually expanded into retail, real estate, and other businesses before being liquidated in 2025. In the beginning, it controlled the fur trade throughout the English-ruled areas of North America. We are not here to talk about the company, but we're going to talk about one of its holdings, and that was the SS Baychimo. Back in 1921, HBC was looking to expand their business, and they wanted to trade with people farther away, like areas of Siberia. HBC managed to acquire the ship, the SS Baychimo, after it had been given to the British as reparations resulting from World War I. The British then sold the ship to HBC, and HBC began using it to sell furs across the Arctic Ocean. The ship was 230 feet long and 36 feet wide. It could accommodate about 8 to 10 passengers and around 30 crew members. So it was a decent sized ship, but not anything like a current cruise line sized ship or anything like that. But it was good enough to get across the Arctic Ocean.
I don't know if they could have figured out modern day cruise ship sized ships back then.
Oh, no.
A city floating on the water?
No, not at all. I mean, this one held like essentially 40 people, and that was about it. So those other ones are holding like 6,000 people.
A small town in Arkansas, basically.
Yeah, exactly. For a couple of years, the Baychimo sailed through the eastern part of the Arctic Ocean. Then in 1925, the Baychimo focused on trading in the western part of the Arctic Ocean. It successfully completed 9 trading voyages along the northern coast of Canada. The Baychimo would stop at trading posts and collect pelts to be delivered to distant lands. In October 1931, the ship had a turn of bad luck, of course, in the form of severe weather. I mean, it's the Arctic, so what else are you going to run into there but some snow and ice, which is no surprise what they got. At the end of a trading run, the ship was loaded with furs when it became trapped in ice not far from the town of Barrow, Alaska. The crew left the ship briefly to seek shelter for a couple of days. When they returned, the ship had broken free from the ice and they were able to reboard it. However, a few days later, the ship became stuck again. I don't want to be on a ship that's stuck in ice. Just saying
well, now they make ships that break through ice, but again, they didn't know how to do that.
Not in the early 1900s. Yeah. This time, the situation was more severe, and so more than half of the crew were airlifted out. The Hudson's Bay Company chartered aircraft to rescue the crew, which was unusual for that time, considered by some historians to be one of the earliest large-scale Arctic air evacuations. The remaining crew built a shelter nearby to wait out the winter. About 6 weeks after the Baychimo originally became stuck, there was a severe blizzard. When the weather cleared, the ship was gone.
Okay.
It had freed itself. The captain figured the ship had been destroyed by extreme weather, but within a few days, the Baychimo had been spotted about 45 miles away. So during the blizzard, it broke free and floated away.
So when you said earlier they waited a couple days for the I would have someone on constantly watching the boat to see if it like broke free. It sounded like they were just off camping near the boat, and then woke up and it was like, oh, there's no boat.
Whoops, it's gone. I'm betting they probably figured it wasn't going anywhere because it was stuck in ice.
I would still drop anchor. I mean, if you can.
Do something.
If you could drop it to the ice, just to, if it does break free, it doesn't just float away. Like that just seems like basic boating knowledge to me, but I don't know.
I'm also not a boat person, so I don't know. But yes, I would agree with you. Like an anchor might have been helpful if they'd even tried it. I don't know. Because the boat had turned back up, the decision was made to secure as much of the cargo as possible. The most valuable furs were removed by air, and the ship was left to the sea. Basically, they just said, we're done with Baychimo.
Removed by air?
Yeah, so they got the furs off, and then they took them onto an airplane and flew away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking helicopters. I'm like, I don't know if helicopters...
Probably not. Maybe they assumed it would quickly be destroyed by the ice and weather, but the Baychimo had different plans. She broke free of the ice again and began to wander, not just for days or months, but for decades. Basically, it earned her the new moniker of the ghost ship of the Arctic.
Terrifying.
Yeah. Over the next few years, after the Baychimo had been abandoned in 1931, there were various sightings of the ship, some as far as 300 miles from the original place it had been ice-locked. About a year and a half after the ship was left, a group of Inupiat hunters found the ship and boarded it. They were attempting to salvage useful items left on the ship, but the weather took another sudden turn. Because, of course it did. They were forced to shelter on the ship for 10 days until the storm passed. The same thing happened about 6 years later to other people boarding the ship. Not all attempts to board the ship were unsuccessful or impaired by sketchy weather, but many were. Several people who were able to board the ship noted finding the interior of the ship in relatively good condition, with rooms still furnished, food and supplies still aboard, like soap and buckets and mattresses. They described it as feeling like the ship had just been abruptly abandoned recently rather than many years before. Others were unable to board the Baychimo due to sudden changes in the weather, because the weather is constantly changing in the Arctic, according to this account and over all the years. And although I've never been to the Arctic, and I don't really want to be, I'm thinking that the weather pretty much sucks up there most of the time.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I don't know. They do, like, for super rich people, they have these fancy cruises that go to Antarctica and stuff. They look nice. Like,
yeah?
Yeah, but they're like $20,000 a piece, I think.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have to win a couple lotteries to make that happen.
Couple.
Yeah, just a couple. On at least one occasion, a crew attempted to reach the Baychimo, only for thick Arctic fog to roll in. By the time the fog lifted, the ship had vanished once again.
So we got like a Davy Jones locker ghost ship floating around here. Okay.
Yep. It's just floating around, and then people see it and they're like, hey, let's go check out that ship. And then all of a sudden, they can't see the ship anymore because of a blizzard or fog or whatever. And then when that lifts, the boat is freaking gone.
So it's like the Scooby-Doo movie.
Yeah.
With the pirates? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe Scooby-Doo was based on this. I don't know.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
No, it wouldn't surprise me either. The Baychimo continued to drift through the ocean off the coast of Alaska with sightings of the ship for nearly 40 years. 4
Jesus.
decades. This ghost ship of the Arctic is just floating around.
That's
And
crazy.
and it's like going back and forth through different places that had already been before. We'll have a kind of a generated image of what the different sightings were over the decades and where it was in relation to previous sightings. It's kind of cool to see, like, it really bounced around up there. Back and forth. It was kind of cool. The last recorded sighting of the Baychimo was in 1969, and at that time the ship was frozen in another ice pack. More ice. Not surprising. In 2006, the Alaskan government began a project to locate the Baychimo, either afloat in the ocean or buried at the bottom of the sea. But as of the recording of this episode, nothing of the Baychimo has been found, either floating or at the bottom of the sea. There's no sign of it.
So it's out there floating around somewhere. That's
Maybe.
weird.
Or, I mean, it could have floated farther off and then sunk, maybe. And I don't know
It's probably
exactly.
hard to. You can't just dive in the Arctic like you could in like off of New York to find that other ship I was talking about. But
they're probably scanning the ocean floor, maybe with satellites or something. I wasn't able to find like what kind of tech they're using to try and find it. Maybe they're using really fancy fish finders and they're just driving around on boats using cool fish finders.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they haven't found any sign of it.
That is super bizarre.
Yes. That is my ghost ship story.
It reminds me a lot of that episode or the movie, the Scooby-Doo movie, because the fog would roll in and then the ghost pirates would get on the cruise ship and the gang had to bust them.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's super interesting. I bet you they took not liberties, but they used that as inspiration for that movie.
Could be. I mean, this has been this was 40 years of this ship floating around all over the place.
Quick Google search.
Okay. I'm surprised I didn't remember that guy being in Ocean's 11, but then I'm also not surprised as well.
He's a very recognizable actor. That's the
he
only,
is,
like,
for sure.
I think I've seen him in 3 things, and it's that movie and Hawaii Five-0 and maybe like some like romance, like rom-com. I think I saw him in a rom-com or something, but yeah, I remember him specifically from that movie in Hawaii Five-0.
Yeah.
Nope, they said that is not based on the Scooby-Doo.
It's not.
Okay, well.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, it should be.
It should be.
Because then they could say Scooby-Doo was based on a true story.
Yeah.
Which would reel you in and go, how? How is Scooby-Doo based on a true story?
Do they still make Scooby-Doo?
I don't think... it can't be good.
Usually cartoons get worse as they go on, but...
Yes. Agreed. And the voices are not right.
Apparently, yes, the Scooby-Doo franchise is still active.
I don't...
Scooby-Doo Origins, an 8-episode live-action prequel series developed for Netflix that began filming in Atlanta and is scheduled to premiere in 2027.
Really?
That sounds awful. Yeah. There's no way you can beat the old live-action Scooby-Doos.
Yeah. The original live-action Scooby-Doo movie.
Yeah, with
Matthew Lillard and
yes, Matthew Lillard. I couldn't remember that guy's name.
So good. That was one of
such good movies.
It's such a good and stupid movie, but it's
Yeah.
really good.
The fact
Really
that
good.
Shaggy's girlfriend is named Mary Jane on the airplane.
Yes.
Like,
It's perfect. It's perfect. All the stuff that we get now as adults that we would not have had a clue
Yeah.
as children.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
let's
tell
talk
us
about Let's talk about John Lennon.
Okay.
So while most people know who John Lennon is, here's a brief recap in case you weren't aware. John Winston Ono Lennon, born John
Ono.
Winston Lennon. Yeah, I changed his middle name.
Okay.
I don't go too much into their relationship, but
Okay.
if you should do a deep dive if you're unaware. She's very
Different.
interesting relationship, and she is a very interesting lady.
Yes.
But anyways, so he was born on October 9th, 1940. He was an English musician, songwriter, and activist. He gained global fame as the founder, co-leader, vocalist, and rhythm guitarist of the Beatles. I'm sure everyone's heard of the Beatles. If
Yes.
not, you've heard a song of them and you didn't know.
Right.
Lennon's songwriting partnership with Paul McCartney remains the most successful in history, which is
Wow.
it's crazy that a band that old still holds like
That kind of
records.
record. Yeah.
Yeah. So born in Liverpool, Lennon became involved in the skiffle craze as a teenager. In 1956, he formed the Quarrymen, which evolved to the Beatles in 1960.
What's
He and-
skiffle craze? What's that?
Skiffle craze is a
that like a
kind of a
kind of
revival of music in the UK
Oh.
around the time.
Okay. Gotcha.
So kind of like punk, maybe.
Well,
Punk back in the
well,
day, I guess. And
Could you imagine? There's no way he went from punk, as what we know as punk
Well,
today, to
but the same kind of testament where it's like
Yes.
against the machine
Yeah, I-
kind. Like
totally. Yes, I totally get what you're saying, but the thought of
the
John
Beatles being
Lennon
punk.
and the Beatles like being punk and then going down to what we know as the Beatles, that
Well-
would be a weird transition.
If you think about it, punk has always been anti-establishment. And
Yeah.
at the time, Beatles were kind
Were.
of,
For sure.
not in the same way we think, but they're like protesting against war and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so kind of the same field, I guess.
Yeah.
He was originally the group's de facto leader, a role he gradually seemed to succeed to McCartney. In the mid-1960s, Lennon authored His Own Right and A Spaniard in the Works, both collections of nonsense writing and line drawings. Starting with All You Need Is Love in 1967, his songs were adapted as anthems by the counterculture and anti-war movement. In 1969, he started the Plastic Ono Band with his second wife, multimedia artist Yoko Ono. Which,
Okay.
do your own research on her. I think it's him and James Brown did like a thing on TV together, and they had to cut her mic because she was just like yodeling into the mic. And you can see the
Oh.
moment they cut her off, and James Brown is like, "Nice, thank you."
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So him and his wife held the 2-week-long anti-war demonstration Bed In for Peace and left the Beatles to embark on a solo career. Lennon and Ono collaborated on many works, including a trilogy of avant-garde albums and several films from 1969 to 1972. And he achieved the 4 UK top 10 singles with Give Peace a Chance, Instant Karma, Imagine, and Happy Christmas, War is Over.
Wow.
In 1970, Lennon released his debut solo album, John Lennon / Plastic Ono Band. His list of 4 LPs, co-produced with Phil Spector moving to New York City in 1971, Lennon's criticism over the Vietnam War resulted in a 3-year deportation attempt by the Nixon administration.
Wow.
Lennon and Ono separated from 1973 to 1975, during which time he produced Harry Nelson's album Pussycats and had chart-topping collaborations with Elton John and David Bowie. And now let's talk about Mark Chapman. Mark David Chapman, a 25-year-old former security guard from Honolulu, Hawaii, with no prior criminal convictions, was a fan of the Beatles. He was also a fan of J.D. Salinger's novel The Catcher in the Rye. He had taken on great personal significance for Chapman. This book had taken on great significance for Chapman, to the extent that he wished to model his life after the novel's protagonist, Holden Caulfield. I have to admit, I never read that book, but
I don't think I have either.
I thought it was one of those like high school requirements, but I never read it.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be, but I don't.
Maybe it evolved over time. They realized after this, maybe they were like, maybe we shouldn't make it.
Maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe. Could be.
One of the novel's main themes is Caulfield's rage against adult hypocrisy and phonies. Chapman said that he had been enraged by Lennon's much publicized remark in 1966 that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus, which may have been true at the time, honestly.
Yeah.
And by the lyrics of Lennon's song God, in which Lennon states he does not believe in the Beatles, God, or Jesus. And the song Imagine, where Lennon states, imagine no possessions despite having a lavish lifestyle.
He Chapman, just said imagine. He didn't say let's do it. I mean, you could say imagine. Yeah. Imagine
if we had no possessions, but then I couldn't drive a limo every day.
Right? I mean,
maybe he imagined it and realized he wanted to be rich and famous.
Exactly. I could imagine being poor, but I don't want it.
But Chapman didn't view it this way. He concluded that the letter made Lennon a phony.
Oh, okay.
On October 27th, October 1980, Chapman purchased a 5-shot revolver manufactured by Charter Arms, chambered in .38 Special in Honolulu. He flew to New York City 2 days later after contacting the FAA to learn the best way to transport a revolver. Oh. This was back in the day when you could just this is before TSA. You could probably get on the plane with a fucking.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, there was no TSA, there was no security. Everybody was going to the gate and waving their loved ones goodbye, and you could pack whatever you wanted to on it.
So Chapman learned that bullets could be damaged during air travel, which isn't true. I don't believe it wouldn't make any sense. Right. So he did not bring the ammunition on the flight.
That's
Chapman
good.
left New York on 12th or the 13th of November. It's unsure. He then flew back on December 6th to New York and checked into a YMCA on the Upper West Side for a night before moving to a Sheraton hotel in Manhattan. Chapman waited for Lennon outside the Dakota, which was like a big apartment building that he lived at.
I think I've heard of that, actually.
If John Lennon died, there's probably all kinds of plaques there and shit.
True.
Yeah. Sorry for the spoiler, but if you didn't know, then now you do.
Yeah, now you do.
So he waited outside the Dakota in the early morning and spent most of the day near the entrance to the building, talking to fans and the doorman. That morning, Chapman was distracted and missed seeing Lennon step out of a taxi and enter the Dakota. Later in the morning, Chapman met Lennon's family nanny, Helen Seaman, who was returning from a walk with Lennon's 5-year-old son, Sean. Chapman reached in front of the housekeeper to shake Sean's hand, said that he was a beautiful boy, quoting Lennon's song, Beautiful Boy.
No. Stay away from the children.
Yeah, well, Annie Leibovitz, a personal photographer, arrived at Lennon's apartment for a photo shoot intended for the Rolling Stone magazine. Leibovitz assured Lennon and Ono that a photograph of the two of them naked together would make the front cover of the magazine.
Oh.
She captured several images of Lennon by himself, with one set to be on the cover. Although Ono was initially reluctant to pose nude, Lennon insisted that both he and his wife be on the cover. Now, after taking the pictures, Leibovitz left their apartment at 3:30 p.m. After the photo shoot, Lennon gave what would be his last interview to San Francisco disc jockey Dave Sholin, writer Laura Kay, and recorder-producer Ron Hummel. Go with Hummel. For a music show to be broadcasted at the RKO radio network at around 5 p.m. Lennon and Ono delayed by a late limousine shared with the RKO radio crew, left their apartment to mix the song Walking on Thin Ice, an Ono song featuring Lennon on lead guitar, at the record plant, which was their recording studio. As they left the building, Lennon and Ono were approached by Chapman, who asked for Lennon's autograph on a copy of his recently released album Double Fantasy. Lennon liked to give autographs or pictures, especially to people who had been waiting for long periods of time to meet him. Later, Chapman said, "He was very kind to me, ironically, very kind, and was very patient with me. The limousine was waiting, and he took his time with me, and he got the pen going, and he signed my album. He asked me if I needed anything else, and I said, no, sir. And he walked away. Very cordial and decent man." Paul Goresh, an amateur photographer and Lennon fan, took a photo of Lennon signing Chapman's album.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
The Lennons returned to the Dakota around 10:50 p.m. Lennon wanted to say goodnight to Sean before going to the Stage Deli restaurant with Ono. The Lennons exited their limousine on 72nd Street instead of driving to the more secure courtyard of the Dakota. They passed Chapman and walked towards the archway entrance of the building. As Ono walked by, Chapman nodded at her. As Lennon walked by, he glanced briefly at Chapman, appearing to recognize him from earlier in that day. Seconds later, Chapman drew his revolver from his coat pocket, aimed it at the center of Lennon's back, and fired 5 hollow point bullets from a distance approximately 9 to 10 feet. One bullet missed Lennon and struck a window at the Dakota. According to the autopsy, 2 bullets entered the left side of Lennon's back, with one exiting through his chest and lung, and the other lodging in his neck. 2 more bullets hit his left shoulder.
Jeez.
Lennon, bleeding profusely from his external wounds and from his mouth, staggered up 5 steps to the lobby, crying, "I'm shot, I'm shot." He then fell to the floor, scattering the cassettes that had been carrying.
Oh.
Jose Perdomo, the doorman, shook the revolver out of Chapman's hand and kicked it across the pavement. Concierge worker Jay Hastings first started to make a tourniquet, but upon ripping open Lennon's blood-stained shirt, realized the severity of his injuries. Can't put a tourniquet on someone's back, so.
No.
He covered Lennon's chest with his uniform jacket, removed his blood-covered glasses, and summoned the police. Chapman removed his coat and hat to show that he was not carrying any concealed weapons and remained standing on 72nd Street waiting for police to arrive.
Wow.
Underneath his coat, he wore a promotional T-shirt for Todd Rundgren's album Hermit of Mink Hollow. Perdomo shouted at Chapman, "Do you know what you just did?" To which Chapman calmly replied, "I just shot John Lennon."
Jesus Christ.
Officers Stephen Spiro and Peter Cullen were the first policemen to arrive on the scene. They were at 72nd Street and Broadway when they heard reports of shots fired at the Dakota. The officers arrived about 2 minutes after the shooting and found Chapman standing very calmly on 72nd Street reading a paperback copy of The Catcher in the Rye. They immediately put Chapman in handcuffs and placed him in the back seat of their squad car. Chapman made no attempt to flee or resist arrest. Cullen said of Chapman, "He apologized to us for ruining our night. Turned around and said to him, 'You've got to be fucking kidding me. You're worried about our night? Do you know what you just did to your life?'"
Wow.
And they read him his Miranda rights more than once.
Yeah.
Officers Herb Frauenberger, and Tony Palma were second team to arrive on the scene. They found Lennon lying face down on the floor of the lobby, blood pouring from his mouth and his clothing already soaked with blood. With Hastings attending to him, officers James Moran and Bill Gamble arrived soon as well. Frauenberger put Lennon in Moran and Gamble's car, concluding his condition was too serious to wait for an ambulance to arrive. Moran and Gamble then drove Lennon to Roosevelt Hospital on West 59th Street, followed by Frauenberger and Palma, who drove Ono to the hospital. According to Gable, in the car, he asked, "Are you John Lennon, or do you know who you are?" Lennon nodded, but could only manage to make moaning and gurgling sounds when he tried to speak, and lost consciousness shortly thereafter. A few minutes before 11 p.m., Moran arrived at Roosevelt Hospital with Lennon in his squad car. Moran carried Lennon on his back and placed him into a gurney, demanding a doctor for multiple gunshot wound victim. When Lennon was brought in, he was not breathing and had no pulse. 3 doctors, a nurse, and 2 or 3 other medical attendants worked on Lennon for 10 to 20 minutes in an attempt to resuscitate him. As a last resort, the doctors cut his chest open and attempted I'm going to probably fuck this up, but a resuscitative thoracotomy? Thoracotomy.
Okay, sure.
Thoracotomy, I think.
Yeah,
to restore circulation. They quickly discovered that the damage to the blood vessels above and around Lennon's heart from the bullet wounds was too great. 3 of the 4 bullets that struck Lennon's back passed completely through his body and out of his chest, while the 4th lodged itself in his aorta besides his heart. One of the exiting bullets from Lennon's chest hit and became lodged in his upper left arm. Several of the wounds could have been fatal themselves, but because each bullet had ruptured vital arteries around the heart, there was nothing they could do. Lennon was shot 4 times at close range with hollow point bullets, and his effective organs, particularly his left lung and major blood vessels above his heart, were virtually destroyed upon impact. According to his death certificate, Lennon was pronounced dead on arrival at 11:15 p.m., but the time of 11:07 he had also been reported as dead. Witnesses noted that the Beatles song "All My Loving" came over the hospital sound system at the moment Lennon was pronounced dead. Lennon's body was taken to the city morgue at 520 First Avenue for an autopsy. The cause of death was reported on his death certificate as hypovolemic shock caused by the loss of more than 80% of his blood volume due to multiple through and through gunshot wounds to the left shoulder and left chest, resulting in damage to left lung and left subclavian artery, both the aorta and aortic arch. According to a report, even with prompt medical treatment, no person would have lived more than a few minutes with that many bullets affecting all the major arteries and veins around his heart. Ono asked Roosevelt Hospital not to report to the media that her husband was dead until she had informed their 5-year-old son, Sean, who was still at home at the Dakota. Ono said that he was probably watching television and that she did not want him to learn of his father's death from a TV announcement. However, news producer Alan J. Weiss of WABC TV happened to be waiting for treatment in the emergency room after being injured in a motorcycle crash earlier that evening. Police officers wheeled Lennon into the same room as Weiss and mentioned what happened. Weiss called his station and relayed the information. Meanwhile, word reached Rune Archibald, who at the time was president of both ABC News and ABC Sports, as well as executive producer for Monday Night Football, which on this night featured a matchup between the Patriots and the Dolphins. Aldridge relayed the news to Frank Gifford and Howard Castle, who interviewed Lennon during a Monday Night Football broadcast in 1974, suggesting that they issue a report of the murder to the attending audience at home. No, I don't. If I'm watching football, tell me after. It's
assholes. I hate that shit.
Aldridge asked Castle to be the one to deliver the report, but he did not want to originally. Gifford convinced Castle otherwise, saying, "You've got to do it. If you know it, we've got to do it." don't hang on it. It's a tragic moment, and this is going to shake up the whole world.
Yeah.
So they announced his death. The first announcement of his death was on Monday Night Football while the Patriots and Dolphins were playing.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
That's fucked
Chapman
up.
was charged with second-degree murder of Lennon, as premeditation in New York State was not sufficient to warrant a charge of first-degree murder, which
What?
I guess I don't know how I feel about that, because
No.
I feel like you need more than just premeditation to, like, you have to have prep and all that stuff.
He did
I don't
prep.
know.
He fucking
Yeah, he
bought a
the
gun. He flew from Hawaii to New York with a gun. That's prep.
Yeah.
That's prep.
I mean, you're right. I don't know. It's a complicated issue, but
I don't think so.
So despite advice from his lawyers to plead insanity, Chapman pled guilty to the murder, saying his plea was the will of God. Under the terms of his plea, Chapman was sentenced to 20 years to life with eligibility for parole in 2000. Before his sentencing, Chapman was given the opportunity to address the court, at which point he read a passage from The Catcher in the Rye.
Oh,
As of September 25th, Chapman had been denied parole 14 times, remains incarcerated at the Greenhaven Correctional Facility.
Good. Douche.
Maybe that's why we didn't read The Catcher in the Rye, is because of this very incident.
Maybe. Good gravy. I hate it. Yeah. What a dick.
I'm not going to voice my thoughts on John Lennon. He was a crazy motherfucker, but he didn't deserve to get shot dead.
Okay, crazy or not, and having, opinions about the war or whatever, doesn't warrant this guy to fly across the country to murder him.
So, and I do want to say, I didn't find too much credible information on this. There's a ton of conspiracy theories that Nixon administration had him because he was anti-war and so famous and preaching anti-war movement, and they tried to deport him 4 times for his stuff.
Opinions.
So I've seen that they think that maybe Nixon had him nixed, but
interesting.
I didn't find enough credible information to include that in the story. I figured I'd just leave.
It's also very curious to me that guy stuck around. Like, he shot him and he stuck around.
There's fucking psychos who think that God is gonna,
like,
God told me to do this, so God's gonna protect me, and I
get it. Wow.
I don't want to say all religious people are psycho, but there's some religious psychos out there that.
Yeah, but there's a lot of non-religious psychos too that are like over the top, crazy.
But it's for some reason, I don't know if it's just me, but when if this dude just shot him and then was like, yeah, I shot him, it's less scary than if it's like, God said it was okay for me to shoot.
I would agree.
That's 100 times more scary to me.
I would agree with that.
But if someone was like, oh, God told me to give this homeless person my leftovers, then that's a great thing. But if it's like, God told me to murder all these children,
no, that's not okay.
Yeah, that's scary to me. I don't know.
Ooh.
You have a chaser for us?
I do have a chaser. It is an Instagram account called Moving Art Channel. And this is a photographer who does time-lapse photography. And he posts the videos that he gets, and they're amazing. They're things like a growth of a mushroom, where it's like suddenly, he's showing like just the dirt, and then over the time-lapse video, it grows into a giant mushroom. But my personal favorite one is a hummingbird that is like being attacked by a bug of some kind. I couldn't really tell, but the bird does a barrel roll to get away
Is that
from
the video
bug.
you guys showed me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's freaking amazing. It's so cool.
Yeah. Hummingbirds are like the F-35s of birds. Like,
Yeah.
they're the top of the line, like maneuverability and speed. And
Yeah.
so it's
I
crazy
love
that-
hummingbirds.
I want to know how
Always have.
expensive the camera is that he has to be able to
Ooh.
capture that. Because those
I don't
like
know.
slow frame, like
Yeah.
slow-mo cameras are pricey for the good ones to get
Oh
like
yeah. I
that
would.
quality of video that he got. It's
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
It's amazing. Super cool.
don't-
Highly recommend checking out like his account. He's got everything from like the camera is just mounted and all you see is sky and
Oh, and it's the sunrise and
it's
sunset. and you see,
sunrise,
like-
sunset, moonrise, moonset, and clouds. Like there's some of
Yeah.
them that are just the clouds moving across the sky. It's so freaking cool.
Have you seen like the people that if you like, I think it's the ISO on a camera that you adjust, but they like go in nighttime, they adjust some certain setting and they take a light
Mm.
and you can draw, and the way the
Yes.
camera frames pick it up, it like
Yes.
picks up the drawing. But
It's
like,
so cool.
that stuff's so cool to me.
I know.
There's
same.
weird things you can do with cameras, and I understand why
know.
they're so expensive after seeing shit like that. It's
Right,
like,
no kidding. I've
Yeah.
never been able to.
an iPhone
I mean,
could never caption that.
Right. I used like an old style camera in high school. I took a photography class and we had to adjust all of the different settings on it and take different pictures and then we got to develop them and it was really cool. It was one of my favorite classes. But the stuff that some people are able to do with the camera, I am just amazed by. I can't
Yeah,
figure it out. I can barely figure out the one on my freaking phone.
I also took a photography class, and the only thing I learned is the rule of thirds. That's the only
Yes.
thing I learned from
That's-
that.
I remember that too.
Yeah. Yeah. And whenever you talk to someone who takes pictures and it's like, oh, nice rule of thirds, and they think you know what you're talking about, and they start
Right, and
listening.
then-
I'm like, sorry, bro, you're speaking another language right now. I don't know
Right.
what ISO or exposure means. I just took the picture.
Yeah. Yeah. I just know to not put it in the middle.
Yep.
What's your chaser?
My chaser is a watch recommendation for the show The Westies.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
What is that? MGM? Is that what it's on?
I think it is. Yeah.
It's got J.K. Simmons, which I haven't watched a movie or show that I don't like him in. And he plays an Irish mob boss in the 80s and how they were kind of working with the Italians. And it's a cool little look into history, and all the acting is mostly good.
Yeah.
I'd say the acting is mostly good.
I
But
think it's good. I think it's good. I haven't really seen anything that I was like, oh, I didn't
No,
roll
the
my
cop-
eyes.
I don't like the acting from the cop. The cop is like,
Oh, yeah.
But I don't want to spoil
Yeah.
it. You guys should all go watch it. It's a good little watch if you like mob stuff, which if you
So-
enjoy our podcast, you probably do like mob
Right.
stuff.
True. So far, I've been liking it.
Yes,
It's a
me too.
recently started series, and so it hasn't finished yet.
Well, they
for
got us with the
season.
ads. They said new season out. It's the
I
first
know.
season. You
It's
can't
the-
say new season out. Just
I know. I felt the
Fucking
same
stupid.
way. I was so annoyed. I was like, wait.
I thought we were gonna have 2 seasons to binge, but nope.
Same.
4
No.
episodes.
No, it's
They're
bullshit.
coming out though. So
But-
maybe wait a couple months and then binge it if you're
Right.
that type of person.
Yeah, so far it's good.
Yes. So far it's good.
Awesome.
Well, I think that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thanks for
It
listening,
does.
everybody.
Yes, thank you. And next week, little preview for next week. Next week is going to be a special episode. It is our 4th anniversary episode, which
My
is
God.
shocking as hell. 4th anniversary, and it's going to be a little different, and it's going to be fun.
If this podcast were a child, they'd be getting ready for pre-K.
Oh God, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, our podcast is a preschooler. Aw. That's awesome. I hope it knows how to tie its own shoes by now.
We use Velcro in this house.
I guess.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Love you, Mom.
Love you, bud. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, friends. Thank you for supporting our podcast. Please share our show with your brutal and bizarre friends. Give us a Boozy follow on your favorite podcast platform. If you're feeling extra generous, we'd appreciate a 5-star rating or review as well. But maybe do that sober so all the letters are in the right place.
You can find all our contact information in the show notes. We love hearing from you, and if you're interested in helping us stock the bar for our future Boozy episodes, you can find our Patreon link in the show notes as well.